By now you've probably heard that the federal government has come out and announced some fairly significant changes to our superannuation. And in many parts of the country, it's gone down like a lead balloon.
And your grubby little mates, the Labor Party, want to put their fingers and their sticky fingers into the money that is being kept there, which is people's wages.
And if that wasn't bad enough, it gets worse.
It's not the people's money. You've got to understand that. This superannuation money belongs to Jim Chalmers.
So in this episode, I want to look at two scary truths from Jim Chalmers' recent announcement and what it could mean for you. Hi, it's Nero here, and there was one line in particular in our Federal Treasurer's announcement when it came to the superannuation changes that really shocked me. Treasurer Jim Chalmers caps super tax breaks for accounts with more than $3 million. But when we scroll down through this article as it goes through the transcript of what our Treasurer had to say, it was this line that really scared me. Mr. Chalmers said the average account had about $150,000 and would be unaffected by the changes. Hold up, the average superannuation balance is $150,000? Now, that might sound like a lot of money, and I'm no financial planner, but let's have a look at some numbers. According to the Association of Superannuation Funds of Australia's Retirement Standard, to have a comfortable retirement, single people will need $545,000 in retirement savings. That's nearly 4 times what the average superannuation balance is, according to what Jim Chalmers had to say. And as I go further into this article, it says according to the ASFA, the minimum annual cost of a comfortable retirement for singles is just over $48,000, $48,266 to be specific. Now, if we sort of round that up to be $50,000 just to make my numbers easy, and if Mr. Chalmers is correct and the average superannuation balance is only $150,000, if you need $50,000 as a single person to have a comfortable retirement, and you got $150,000 in superannuation, does that mean that your superannuation is going to only last you 3 years? Now, of course, you might say, yes, Nero, but when you take out some money, you still have the rest in your superannuation and you can invest that. Okay, let's say you do really, really well. And so instead of being maybe 3 years, your superannuation lasts you 6 years. So does that mean that you work hard for 40 years, maybe now 45 years or 50 years, and then you only have enough money to be comfortable for 5 or 6 years? Something doesn't add up to me. And then, if you want to build wealth in your superannuation, you've got to be having some second thoughts now when the government is starting to tax and increase the tax paid on superannuation, especially for people who have higher and higher balances. Now you might be saying, yeah, Nero, it doesn't matter so much. It's only for the wealthiest of the wealthiest. But consider this. Will the $3 million cap be indexed? No. Treasurer Jim Chalmers says he does not intend to index the $3 million cap. Now, if you're wondering what that means, indexation just means adjusting the amount based on something like inflation. So if the threshold is not indexed, inflation and the compounding earnings within super will push more Australians above the $3 million balance level over coming decades. And this is especially true for younger people, and I mean younger as in sort of people under 45 who've got at least 20 years or more until retirement. Then as they put more into superannuation and those balances start to rise, you're going to see more and more Australians be affected by these so-called tax changes. So what's the alternative here? Well, if you don't trust the government not to come after your hard-earned money, and that's what your superannuation is, remember, it's money that you've earned and the government has forced you to put it into this superannuation scheme, and now they're literally saying we can put our hands into it whenever we decide is the right time. Okay, so if you don't trust the government, you need to start considering investing in assets that grow in value over time. Look, I'm a property person. That's how I build my wealth. And as a buyer's agent, that's how I help others build wealth. But this is not financial advice. You don't need to be a property person. But what you do need to do is, if you're serious about securing your retirement, however long you have to go until then you really need to consider looking at other ways of building a financial fortress for yourself. And the best way that I know how to do that is by investing in assets, whatever assets that you're comfortable using. Because I, for one, don't have faith that a government in the future won't come after my superannuation, my hard-earned money, right? That's why I'm building a property portfolio, and that's why I help others do the same. But the question for you is, what's your plan to protect yourself financially so you're not at the whim of a government who chooses to come after your money at some point in the future?